So the conversation is going to be about how a farm can make a profit this December despite the high cost of D.O.C. All right. Now, this conversation is going to be a conversational one, and it's going to be less of a lecture and all that, you know. So I'll spend 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes having an in-depth conversation on the topic. And then after that, I will spend some time taking questions and answers, and we just have general conversations and try to tackle real practical issues concerning this topic. The first key point I'm going to share with you today would be on of course, on the concept of poultry farming. As we very well know, that's me. I want you guys to see me while I present. As you very well know, in Nigeria, a lot of farms, there are probably between 500K to a million poultry farms in Nigeria already. And a lot of people have been very concerned about the persistently increasing cost of day-old chicks. So, of course, I believe everybody on the call knows what a day-old chick is, right? Day-old chicks, or popularly called D.O.C. Those are, the chicks you have to buy when you're setting up a farm. So they're like baby chickens or something like that. And so, based on the research we did, I kind of figured out that the cost of D.O.C has risen from about 150 naira right from 2018 to right now it's about 400, 500. Now, with that being said, one of the key things you would realize is that a lot of farmers begin to complain about, the cost of D.O.C is so high, and then they just suddenly lose their sense of making profits. They just suddenly lose their confidence. And I think it's actually unfair, because if you, let's do some practical calculations here. If you take the price of D.O.C, that was 180 naira probably in 2018, and then you now have, let's say 500, and let's even crash the price to 480. The difference in that is 300 naira, right? And when you take a look at the cost of inflation, the cost of production, and all that things, all you need to do really is just to add 300 naira, right, to your cost of production, and that settles it. So when people begin to lose their sense of profit making because they feel that the price of D.O.C is high, then I think there's actually something wrong. So what I would like to share with you is like about 5 secrets of what I think you can do to make a profit in your farm. Number one, you need to understand that the cost of production for in agriculture, right? 70 to 80% of the profits is not made by the farmer. So if you have a poultry farm, the real profit from your bird, right? 70 to 80% of it is not going to come from you, the farmer who farmed or grew the animal. Actually, at least 70% of the profit goes to the person who can sell well. What do you guys think? Let me hear. What do you guys think? And I can tell you this, it's true whether you're producing feeds, it's true whether you're manufacturing most commodities, like 70%. But for poultry farming, 70% of the profit does not go to the farmer. It goes to the person who does the processing and who does the marketing or the sales. So literally, you can build a multi-million-dollar business just focused on selling other people's chickens. I would like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about that? Okay, yeah, Doka says, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. So the profit does not go to the person who works hard. you probably were selling, you spend 8 months or 6 months growing your chickens, they were laying eggs, or you spend 5 months growing your broiler. Your broiler is now very heavy, heavy like Mike Tyson and all that. Like if you don't process and sell the chicken, or if you don't sell the chicken yourself, you're going to lose 70% of your margins of your profit. So the key thing isn't about how to produce better, or like how to reduce your cost of feeds and all those things right there. Right now, that's not the core conversation. The core conversation is like, how do you optimize the 70% of profit that you could make, additional profit that you could make from selling your chicken, despite the high cost of D.O.C. So the first thing I want to share with you creative marketing techniques. That's my number 2 point right now. Number one, you need to sell at higher margins. And the truth is that if you, okay, let's do a quick mathematics here. Quick mathematics. So let's do quick mathematics. If you have 1,000 birds, and you bought your D.O.C at let's say 500 naira, that is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Is equals to 500K. Can someone give me the price for the cost of feeds for this? So let's say you fed the birds for 6 weeks. Just give me a random cost. Let me see. Anybody? Okay, let's say let's do 1.5 million. You pay your staff for 6 weeks. Let's say you paid them how much? Let's say 300K. Then let's say water, electricity. So water, W is water, electricity, and other expenses, whatever. Let's say you spend 200K. I don't think you're going. No, people don't really spend up to that. Okay, yeah, say 200K because of power. Okay, so what you have here total is going to be 2 million. No, is it 2.5 million? 2.5 million is going to be your total expense. Now, knowing that your total expense is equals to 2.5 million, right? What cost price is now going to be what? Can someone help me with the cost price? Cost price is going to be what? 2,500 is going to be your cost price. Now, so let's factor in 10% mortality. Oh, sorry about that. 10% mortality. That would mean this farmer lost 25,000 naira. So it means, I hope you guys can follow this calculation, because farming is about calculation. So if you factor in 10% mortality, which I think is fair, it means that you lost 25,000 naira. So what you have left here is that instead of 1,000 birds, you lost 10%, that's 100 birds. So you actually just have 900 birds, which equals to 2,500 naira each. And then you lost 25,000 naira. So 25,000 naira divided by 900. What do you have? So we're trying to get the cost of, that's 28 naira. Okay, so we have to add this 28 naira to this 2,500. So the real cost price is equals to 2,528. So this is the actual cost of the animals. So this is the actual cost of each bird you're selling. 2,528. Now, as a farmer, you have different options. Number one, you can sell at this price, but you need to make profits. So you need to sell, what would be the recommended selling price? I need suggestions. What would be the recommended selling price? Adiola says include cost of transportation. Yeah, I think I already did that here. I talked about water, electricity, and other expenses. So you can include transportation here. So if, okay, how much would you sell your chicken if you knew you spent 2,500 on it? Okay, so we're having different suggestions. 3,000, 3,2. Okay, let's use this too. Okay, now there are two things here that we need to look at. Why do you want to sell your chicken at 3,000 and 3,2? So I would like to hear why you suggested that price. Philip and Joshua. Philip, Joshua, why do you want to sell, and OGND, why do you want to sell your chicken at 3,000 naira? You can just unmute yourself.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, for me, why I decided to sell at 3,000 naira is for me the profit margin is fair based on the number of birds I'm dealing with.
Okay, profit margin is fair. So I'm just going to write this farmer thinks that 3,000 is fair. Okay, that's all right. Somebody Charles says 3,2. Philip says 3,2. Can any of you explain why you suggested that price?
Hello, Blessing. Can I say something?
Yes, hi Joe. Good to see you again.
Okay. What I want to actually say is, markets are actually different based on the locality, the location where you find yourself. So you cannot just on your own decide what you want to sell. You have to look at your market target. Who are your customers? I mean, who are you selling for? Where is the market for how much are they selling in the market? So you make your judgment based on the current market price. And you now from there see, okay, this is the current market price. For me to break into the market, I need to monopolize the market. I need to bring down a bit of my own, my own selling price. And
Okay,
if I bring down, is it going to, profit me at the end of the day? If it doesn't, because you need to take this thing into cognizance. How long did you start the business and all of that? Those are the parameters you need to look at. You cannot just on your own sit down and say, I want to sell like this. It doesn't flow like that. You can decide to say you want to sell like this, and then you go to the market, nobody buys from you. Like someone said, the demand, if you sell it high, the demand might be from you might be low. And at the end of the day, we know what happens to chicken like broilers. If you keep them longer than when you're supposed to sell them out, they begin to eat into your profits. So you cannot just decide, but what you used to decide is what is the current market price.
Okay,
From
good.
there, you can now make your deduction.
Good. Thank you very much for sharing with us. Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Now, one of the things I want to expose you guys to is really how to think differently about how you sell your chickens. So, yeah, so that is one of the things I want to get you guys to think differently about today. I want to get you to shift from that type of thinking where you produce your chickens and you have to now go and think about, okay, how much are people selling, right? So if, for example, if your real cost, of producing is 2,528 naira, and you go to the market tells you that, let's put something here. Let's put market price. So let's say you go to the market now, and the market is selling at 2,000 naira. So what do you do? Does that mean that you have to crash your price to 2,000 naira and lose 528 naira? Do you understand? Because that idea you just shared now is good. It's a great one. I'm trying to get you to shift because once in a while you have to question market assumptions, right? You have to like go opposite direction, especially if you're aggressive about how you're going to make profit. Because I mean, you just spend 2,500 on growing this chicken, and the market is telling you that the price of birds now is 2,000 naira. So does that mean you're going to lose you're going to lose 500 naira? So let's see. With that being said, so let's stay with this prices 3,000, 3,002. Another person suggested so, so let's use another person suggested 25% of RCP. So 25% of 2,528 is so let's calculate that is 632. So 632 is equal to 632 plus 2,528. So that's equals to plus 2,528. Okay, that's equals to 3,160. Okay, that's good. So we have two prices here. We have 3,160, and which I think is good. Is good compared to this. So the question becomes, if my market is telling me that the price of my chicken is 2,000, it's supposed to be 2,000, right? And my cost, real cost of production is this, right? And I am trying to target. So let's assume this is in an ideal world. I'm targeting 25% production. How do I go about marketing my chicken in such a way that I can make 25% profit? Good. So we've solved the first issue. We've targeted 25% profits on my real cost of production. How do I go about it? So I want to give some creative ideas quickly that I think would help. I think we've talked about the first one, selling at higher margins. Now, I want to introduce you guys to a concept. How many people here have considered subscriptions? So I have a mentor, right? His name is, let me show him to you guys. His name is Joel Salatin. I want to introduce you guys to Joel Salatin. This is him here. His farm has about, I think he does roughly around, I think 50,000 birds. That was some time ago. I don't know how many he does now. Probably they've expanded to like 100K and all that. So this is the farm, his farm. I just want you to see a picture of what he does. And so what he does is, I think this is too much pictures. What he does actually is that he does what we call subscriptions. So he sells the story of his farm. Now, if you go to Joel's farm at any point in time, if you go to his farm now and you want to buy chicken from him now, you cannot buy chicken from him. And the reason for that is because all the chickens in the farm are already booked. And so what it does is that some of you probably do some form of network marketing, or you subscribe to Susu and some of those traditional African things. So what he did was that he used that same concept on his farm. And the idea I'm trying to share with you here is that one of the key things you should really consider looking into is subscriptions, getting people to subscribe. Like it's easier if I deposits to you 1,000 naira today, tomorrow 1,000, next tomorrow 1,000, and you tell me 2 months ago that I'm going to give you access to my chicken for 3,000 too, and I need you to do osusu or like whatever, pay in step for my chicken, um, and you have loyal customers, then you would be able to sell at this price. If you are always competing on price, if price is the only thing you're competing on, this thing called price, if it is the only thing you are competing on, you are going to lose your business. If you always compete on price, you would run out of business. And the reason I say that is because what you need is loyal customers. Loyal customers. You need people who subscribe to your farm. Many farms do not. If I go to you now and I tell you, give me a list of 20 people or 30 people who will buy chicken from you, whether you sell your chicken 5,000 naira or 1,000 naira, how many of you here would say you have that list? I want to see. No one, you see. Okay, oh good. So we have one person. Nice, nice. So that's the first thing. You need to focus on subscriptions and bookings. So the thing about sales is that, okay, so let me run through the other points and then we'll just have a discussion. The other point I want to make today is the concept of community sales. Community sales. Community sales. There was a time I was running a farm in ADP in Benin City. That was years ago. One of the core things we used to break into the market was the concept of community sales. And I'm so surprised that right now many people are not taking advantage of it. So what we did in Benin City at that time was that we engaged with a community of women vendors. Some of them were business people, some of them had their own shops and all those things. And we signed a deal with them. All right. And what we did was that we got them to buy at a specific price from us. And of course, it also depends on weight. And then we had two arrangements. We had a cash arrangement. So if you're buying cash, you probably get like 5 to 10% discount. But if you're not buying cash at that point in time, you have to pay like a higher cost for acquiring the birds, you know. So that's the second thing we did. Then the third thing I want to share with you, which many people have failed to do, like, I don't know, many people have failed to really invest in this infrastructure, is the concept of processing your own chicken. I don't know how many of you are very much aware. You know, some people do processing of smoked fish and all that, but like very few people do processing of smoked chicken. Smoked chicken is a big market. In fact, I have witnessed in several occasions where some farms decided to smoke some of their chicken just to test the market, and they sold it through market vendors, women vendors in markets, and it was hot cake. Like, they sold a whole lot of chickens from their farms just by smoking it, because many people do not necessarily have access to smoked chicken all the time. And because they don't have access to smoked chickens, they always go for smoked fish. You know, and smoked chickens are a delicacy, right? So if you are able to smoke the chicken, you actually would make a whole lot more money from it, you know, and all that. And then the final thing I want to share with you is the concept of taking advantage of your social media, especially your WhatsApp status. If you are a farmer, there is some, if you miss the opportunity, you should not miss the opportunity to put in your WhatsApp status every day the growth, the story of your chicken. So what I mean by story of your chickens is that selling your chickens in a way is like what do I use? Let me use, there's a word called relay race. Yeah, it's like a relay race. You need to share the story of your birds. Oh, my birds are, we just stocked in 1,000 birds. These birds are 1 week old. You snap the picture and the video, you put on your WhatsApp status, make it look nice. Week 2, You put it there. You keep on doing it week on week. So your friends, your neighbors, or people on your WhatsApp status, they are following you on status, just the way people follow people on Twitter. And they are seeing how your bets are developing. And then 1 month or 3 weeks before you sell, you put on your status that, okay, guys, we have some form of we're giving out our chickens. We'll be giving out our chickens in 3 or 4 weeks time. If you pay 2,000 naira now, all you need to do is to pay balance 1,000 by in 3 weeks time, and you would have your chicken. We will deliver this chicken to you and all that, And what you would see is that because people want to follow your story, because people want to see how those chickens are being grown. There's that personal connection they have with your birds, all right, and then they are willing and able to buy from you at a good price. So I'm trying to shift you away from the concept of buying of selling your birds at a very low price based on market price, because if we always follow market price, we are going to lose money. That's very true. We are going to keep on losing money. All right. But if you follow the concept of storytelling, you follow the concept of subscriptions, storytelling on your WhatsApp status, subscriptions, and then smoking, then the concept of processing your own animal. So by processing, I mean, you know that you want to sell your best at 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, every other thing you're doing, you are just spending money on feeding. So why would you not invest 100,000 or 200,000 naira in buying a freezer or a generator and freeze you freeze them up in your freezer? Why would you not consider smoking your animals and selling them? Why would you not consider subscriptions? So that is what I'm trying to share with you today, that you should start selling your birds 1 month before they are due. And you should give people an easy way to pay, because sometimes the issue is that the issue is that we want to, you are selling your bird at week 6 or week 8. You now wait until your birds are due before you now start selling, and before you know what's happening, you start losing money. So these 4 concepts are 4 creative marketing things that I think you really need to hold on to be able to profit from your farm. It has worked. I've done it myself. It has worked, and it's something that I wanted to share with you guys, that you need to think differently about your birds, so that customers don't frustrate you and tell you, this is your bird, it's 2,000 naira, whereas your actual cost of raising that bird is 2,528 naira. All right. So with that being said, I would like to take questions from the house.
My question is concerning the subscription you're talking about. How do we go about making people to subscribe? Secondly, the processing. Don't you think we need to do some kind of probably registration with NAFDAC and other things, or it doesn't really matter?
Okay, that's a very good question.
Hello.
Yes, Bayo, thanks. That's a very good question. So you're asking about number 1, summary of the lectures, and then number 2, processing, if we need to do NAFDAC. So,
yes.
So if you are processing fresh, you don't need NAFDAC at all. So don't forget, the idea is that we are trying to process it. Your idea, the reason for this meeting is that we're talking about sales. How do you get more money, from your, because I mean, you're running a farm, you're not running it as charity, right? Now you spend 2,500 to raise your birds. How do you sell it with 25% profit margin? Now, in terms of processing, you can start selling early on your WhatsApp status, on social media, wherever, and ask people to pay ahead of time.
Okay.
For your bed. All right. Okay. So that's number 1 technique. And one of my mentors is already doing that, and he has been doing that for a few years. He's been very successful. Initially, to be slow, to start with 1 person, 2 person, and all those things. But eventually, after some time, all your customers will be on subscription only. And then what I'm saying is that if you are supposed to sell a bed for 3,200 naira, you can smoke it, right? Maybe you're going to spend like 100 or 200 naira smoking. as per your actual cost of smoking, right? And then you can tell them that you can pieces the bird
Okay.
into several parts and sell the parts. You know the way they do for frozen chicken. You can
Okay.
smoke 10 laps or whatever and sell it as a package. And when you sell it as a package, before you know what's happening, you're making like 20-30% more on your 3,200
Mm,
naira. So you're not telling the person I
mm,
will smoke chicken and ship it to you at 4,002 or 5,000.
good.
Do you understand? I have one of my proteges right now, who is in Abuja. If you on Twitter, it's called Bolestica. That Abuja Bolestica. And one of the things I told him to do was that smoke chicken, smoke fish, smoke turkey. And so right now, he sells chicken and like two bole. I mean, we're all Nigerians. How much does a plantain cost? Probably 50 naira, 100 naira, right? So he smokes two
Mm,
plantains and then he adds chicken to it and he sells it like 5,000. How much
wow.
does he buy the chicken from the farmer? Probably 2,000 naira or 5, right? They,
Yeah.
they, they, they remove the liver and all those things, gizzard and all those things, which they will sell again. And then they smoke the chicken
Certainly.
and sell it for you 4-5K.
Hmm.
Do you understand? So so
Yeah.
so he it's a case of monkey they walk, baboon they shop. He did not
Hmm.
buy feed, he doesn't have the pen, he doesn't have
Hmm.
anything, but he's making like 2,000 naira on a whole chicken. Whereas the
Hmm.
farmer made like 500 naira or 300 naira, or even sold it at a loss. You understand? So that is what we're trying to tell you, that you need to have a mechanism, have at least on a very easy scale. You can have a notebook, right, where you have all
Okay.
your customers'
Yeah.
names and you have their deposit.
Yes.
It's like Osusu. Make them do Osusu for you.
Okay.
And we haven't put it here on the
Okay.
farm, but make them do Osusu. You can pay 500 naira for
Okay.
your chicken. You can pay 1,000. All right. You know, they can just
Okay.
pay to you. You save it once it's up to that amount. I mean, you deliver the person's chicken. So if somebody is paying
Yeah.
500 or 1,000, by the time they pay, they can pay 3,500, 4,000. But once you now want to collect the money in bulk once, that is when you have issue.
Okay.
Because the person will not tell you that, I need 5 chicken or 10 chicken. I don't want to pay you 30,000 naira. They will not start pricing with you. So, okay, let me give you 25,000. The 5,000 naira extra may look small, but that's a lot of money. Do you understand? So I'm trying to get you to change your thinking, that don't wait
Yeah.
until your bets are due before you start selling. 1 month before they are
Okay.
due, start selling. Immediately your bet hits the pen, as a D.O.C. Start putting it on your WhatsApp status so that people follow your story and give them the opportunity to deposit, pay small. All right. Do you understand? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. And then the last thing I will do before the end of the class, I will summarize everything I talked about. That will be the last thing I will do after I take all the questions. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Yes. So let
All
me.
right. Thank you.
I think
Yeah.
Is Joe there? Okay. It's like Joe. Can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
here.
Joe.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, like I'm driving, you know. So
Okay.
so I'll close my video so that I can just do
Focus.
the talking, you know.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. So what I want to I have two things.
Okay.
One is like a contribution and one is a question.
Okay.
The caption of this today's presentation was, I think it was about uh, how to reduce your feed, right?
No, it was about how to make profits.
Yeah, how to make profit with reduce feed or feed something. It had
No,
to do with feed, right?
no, no. We're going to have a separate meeting on that. And for those of you who are interested, I can teach you how to grow like black soya flies, to reduce your, like, grow larva protein level to reduce your cost of feed. So that we can do, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're just
Okay.
focused on creative ways of selling your birds, outside of going to the market and they tell you that the price is 150, whereas you spend 2005. So we're saying, okay, how can we do it in such a way that even though market is selling for 2,000 naira and you produce at 2005, how can we do it in such a way that you can even make extra profit on that your 2005? Because, for example, right? For example, Joe, are you
Yeah.
still there? For
Yeah, I'm with you.
example, for example, let's talk about phones. In the same Nigeria, where somebody is selling phone for 25,000 naira, Apple is still selling their phone, the same phone, oh, but different quality. They are still selling that same phone for 200,000 naira. So the thing is the way they are who they are targeting and how they are selling. So if you want to sell in the open market, for example, right? Yeah, you have to now go and lose. You have to lose. But if you are now saying that, okay, oh, I have 1,000 beds, what are the new ways I can explore to sell my beds so that I, make a profit? Do you understand? In that case, this meeting is for you. Do you understand? That's what we're talking about today.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I was supposed to join this meeting at exactly 9, but I had an issue with the ATM. I don't know if anyone has experienced it before. You try to withdraw money, and then the next thing, the money starts counting, and then NEPA light, the power just ceased, and everything quenched. And I stood there until the meeting started by 9. I keep waiting until the light came back and it rebooted, and the money didn't come back. I don't know
Oh,
whether it will
sorry
come
about
back
that.
though. Whether
Sorry
it will
about
come back,
that.
but my account has been debited. So
So they'll
actually, yeah,
refund it
okay,
back.
I got the point now because I didn't. I'm saying this because I didn't actually join early enough because
Okay,
of
I'll do a summary.
the circumstance. So, but now from what you said about the processing, that you've
Mhm.
done it and it has worked. There are some other areas where I look at it differently. Like when you talk about broilers, for instance, the freezing or frozen of those birds, having to spend extra money to acquire those things, there are other disadvantages. The disadvantages that I've observed or experienced could be high cost of these things, high cost of
Power.
preservation, high cost of preservation. That is to say, you need power
Mm-hmm.
to get your freezer working. You need fuel to get your generator running if at all you don't have constant electricity. So different areas might have different challenges. You might be
Mm-hmm.
lucky to be in an area where you have constant electricity and then you don't have a problem. I have areas that are like that. But if you find yourself in an area where you don't have constant electricity, considering frozen of your chicken could be a concern. Now and again, in the area of the smoked chicken, you look at the market again, your terrain, like he said, do people actually know about smoked chicken? Do they sell it? Do they even know that chicken are being smoked, or they are only doing the ones in the roadside, the roadside smoking and roasting and all of that?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the areas we need to consider again when we are making our choices, so that at the end of the day, you don't jump in, you now realize that you're losing. Nobody really knows about this. They are not used to this and stuff based on the area you find yourself. Then
Okay.
again, on the area of the marketing, which is an important area which you mentioned, which is very, very key, that you need
Mm-hmm.
to be, the strategy you use in marketing is key in terms of displaying in your WhatsApp and all of that. Yeah, it's very, very key. And but if you cannot do marketing, you might find it very, very difficult as a farmer, because the people that are your off-takers as a farmer are the people that are benefiting more than you. But now, the
Mm-hmm.
things you need to, if your business is a small scale, if your business is a small scale, how do you meet up this? You're in the farm, feeding the birds in the morning, cleaning their poops, you know, giving them water and all of that. What kind of system? Is it a deep litter system? Is it a battery cage system? All those things you outweigh. What's the size of your farm? The man hours you're going to spend to get those things fixed. Haven't gotten them fixed, and then would you now be able to have the energy, the stamina to now go in and start selling or supplying for your target market? So there are a lot of things you need to consider and then put it on your
Joe,
plan. And you look at
Joe,
the cons and pros. Are we together?
Joe, Joe,
Yes.
Joe. Thank God you even brought it up, right? So let's just make this one very engaging for so that other people can learn from it. All right. Um, as a farmer, right? What's the capacity of your farm now? Hello?
Like about 2,000.
Good. So let's use 2000 as an example.
Right.
If you are a farmer, the reason for going to farming is not to make profits.
Sorry, is that a question?
Yes, she is to make a profit now, right?
Exactly, yes.
So if it's to make a profit, marketing becomes even more important than production. That's what I'm saying. That it is better as a farmer, it is better you are a great marketer than to be a great farmer if the purpose is profit. So if you are a farmer now, and you have 2,000 or 20,000 birds, and you don't know how to sell, you will now lose your money, and you might even end up closing the farm.
Very correct.
So it means that marketing as a farmer, before you learn how to even go and before you learn how to go and grow birds or set up farm or do this and do that, the first thing you must learn is how to sell. So in fact, there was a lawyer who reached out to me and he wanted to set up a farm and all those things. I said, see, the first thing you should do, go and rent a store somewhere in town. Buy eggs from farmers, sell their beds for them, understand the market, focus on selling first. Once you have mastered that in your town, then you now open up a farm, because when you understand the market, you will now know that, okay, people are always buying from May to June, and then farmers are unable to meet. You now set up your farm to meet that demand. So you start first with, you start from the back, right, with marketing before you move to production. But unfortunately, we have people who have set up farms without knowing how to market. So that is why we're even doing these trainings now, to say, okay, why don't we teach farmers how to market? Because if you are not marketing or making profits, I mean, at the end of the day, you close the farm and all that, and we don't want that. What do you think?
You're very correct, Blessing. Marketing is just a major, very major. But what I was only trying to say is that, while you're doing it based on the size you have, it's not always easy, for farmers to haven't done everything. You now start again, go and the cost of probably having somebody, it all depends on the size of but as we all know, the basic fundamentals, the golden rule is you start small to grow big, So by the time you start small, you'll be able to engage and have your customers. Like when I started from experience, the first time I started doing broilers, I had somebody that gave me the promises. Sometimes some customers, if you don't have loyal customers, they could be the genesis of your failure. The guy gave me all the assurance that he was going to take those bets. And I started with 600 broilers. You can imagine that. So when I got these 600 broilers, when it was about time to pick, he was now telling me he needs to confirm from the wife how much they are going to buy. I was like, to confirm from your wife, they have reached the table size you needed. Say it needs to confirm from the wife. So they keep going. I mean, they started eating into the profit. So what did I need to, at that point in time, I didn't know what to do. These guys were eating more, and you know how 600 broilers could eat. I lost, I think, like only 2. Then, you understand? And they were just eating, and this guy frustrated me. And so I didn't have any other person to run to. At that point in time, I had to go into the market women, patronize the market women, come. The market women, which, if they come, they are going to price you, very little so that they can go and make their own profit at the end of the day. So now, instead of me keep feeding these guys with how many bags of feed that I was feeding them as at then, I just asked them to just buy. It's okay, just sell. I just sold them like that. Are you getting me? Now, I'm talking about having that loyal customers that you talked about. So some people can frustrate you at the end of the day. So you need to start small. If I had known, I would have started with 200. I wouldn't have believed that guy, he was telling me, even if you have 1,000, they can pick everything. But I did 600. And at the end of the day, he didn't pick everything. He didn't even, in fact, he just collected one. He said, let him take this one. Then I had the birds were, I had 3 kg and above. No, he now picked and now went and showed to the wife. They said he wants to show to the wife, let the wife.
Did he
He
pay?
said, but don't worry, he's going to buy this one at this amount. I said, but the chickens are, ready. You're supposed to have. So he turned me down. So marketing is a key thing that you don't need to underestimate it. And for you to be able to penetrate the market, you need to start small. When you start small, and then people now know you, they will now give you assurance. Okay, like for instance, now like the layers that I have now is even below what my customers need now. Exactly. They are telling me, even if I have up to 500 crates a day, they can pick. Are you getting my point? Now, during the COVID-19 crisis, a lot of farm folded. Why? Because of the feed issue and all of that. Are you getting me? And good enough for me, I still had beds that were coming up. So those beds that were coming up, we had to reduce the feed of the laying beds. We reduced the feed that we were giving them because you need to do your calculation and look at how much they are giving you, the feeds. And so we started reducing the feed. When we started reducing the feed, the production started dropping. It started dropping. We reduced feed up to like 2 months because of the trend of the COVID-19. So now our production actually dropped, but now our losses was not very deep because why? We took the initiative to drop the feeding. Are you getting me now?
Yeah.
So we were still able to. So when the market started picking up again, we increased feed. You understand? In about 2-3 weeks, we were able to, gain momentum. So the people that had so much, in their farms, when they produced these eggs, and there were no people to pick. Everywhere was locked down, interstate lockdown everywhere. So they were burying eggs. They had a lot of losses. So in that case, what did they do? They had to sell off their bets. Are you getting me? So we had that advantage that we took that initiative to reduce the cost of feeding them. And so when it started, that's how we now started. So our losses was not that deep. So now we could stand that test of time. So now we gave the customer, the confidence that yes, despite the crisis and stuff, that these people could still be there. And everybody now come and others will be asking her, where are you picking your beds and stuff? Are you getting what I mean? So at that point in time, these are the COVID-19, which we all know, it was a difficult situation for people to make decisions. Some make the decision of holding up and all of that, and they couldn't make it up and all of that.
Joe,
Joe,
I need to stop now.
Meeting.
Because of time, actually, because we promised 1 hour, so I will just ask permission from other people. If you guys want us to do like 5-10 minutes extra, just say yes in the chat button. Then Joe, I will stop you here, but there's something I want to say about you. One of the things I like about you is that every time you're on this meeting, you always make meaningful contributions, and you always share your story, and I really want to appreciate you for that. Is your farm in Lagos?
No, it's not. It's not. It's in South in Akwa Ibom. Thank you for having me, Blessing.
I really love engaging with you. I just want I think some other people have questions. Okay, guys. Thanks for the permission you gave for us to do like extra 5-10 minutes. Does anybody have any question again? Ibrahim, I see your contributions. I know you say Joe is very lucky, right? To at least to have people buy his birds. Ibrahim, you want to say something?
Yes, please, Mr. Blessing.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning.
Yeah, Joe is lucky, but the story didn't start good, though. Remember.
Good morning, Mr. Blessing.
Yes, good morning. Good morning,
Yes, please,
Joe.
and thank you, Mr. Joe. So, what I wanted to confirm is the smoking. Like I was saying in my on the chat session, I had um I had 600 beds the last batch I did. That was last month, and then
Mm-hmm.
I refrigerated them like in a freezer. They were frozen. Unfortunately, there was power interruption for like 2 days, so I
Ah,
couldn't meet up with the diesel and all of that. So they
okay.
got spoiled, like all of them. So
Oh,
what
sorry.
I did after dressing them, yes, sir. So what I did was I was supposed to discard. On my way to throw them away, something just hit me, and I'm like, should I just waste these birds? Okay, let me get these women that smoke fish around my locality to help me smoke these spoiled chickens, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
smoked them, and then I got dog breeders and pet owners to, like, you could taste, you could see it. Like the chickens were intact, really. Like the
Mm-hmm.
muscle was white, but you could perceive it. So if this thing is being like grounded for dogs, they could actually consume it comfortably. So they smoked those, and then I got somebody to buy at 200 naira,
Okay.
right? So that was just 60,000. It was okay. Like the concept of smoking came to me, but now is it that after smoking, if I want to actually explore that sector of production, so
Mm.
if you smoke, are you still going to refrigerate thereafter, or is it just like smoked fish that you could just pack in a carton?
No, no, no. I think number one, there are different types of smoking, right? So
Yes,
there are some
yes, sir.
people when they smoke, it's still very almost like suya or something. It's still very
Okay,
soft.
yes, the moisture content.
Yeah, and then there's also the way they smoke. Have you seen all these bush meats
Yes, sir. That
that
gets very
I don't know.
dried.
I don't know if those bush meats since when I was born, some people kept them and
Yes, they salt
you
it,
know,
then they dry it.
exactly. So it's dehydrated. So the less what the water content, the
The
less
longer the shelf life.
micro and yeah organisms can act on it. And then I do know that some people also freeze when they smoke just to retain the freshness, so that when the customer buys, there's no issue at all, and all that.
Okay.
And then I got a call last week from a farmer who's running a big farm. He wants to do 60 cartons per week of
Hmm.
broilers. So he was planning to set up a cold room and powered by solar panel. So I think he
Hmm.
about 6 million naira or so. That's what he is 6 or 8 million. That was the budget for the whole project. So what I told him, because we farmers, right? I don't know whether we think of our farms as hotels. Yeah, you have a building with beds that are lodged in. Hotel business is different, right? I say, Oga, it's not about setting up a cold room. Do you understand? Number one, most cold rooms are built locally and actually they will not work well. You just go one day and one side of the cold room is not working. And that's not even after 4 or 5 years. It might even mean it's first 3 months or 6 months. And then you start repairing till you lose motivation. So I told him that the idea of the cold room is too expensive, number one. And then you doing solar is not really reliable, except you get a company who does the solar for you. So my suggestion to him, number one, instead of spending 8 million naira on that, in your farm or in town, get a store or a shop or something or a flat, whatever, and buy deep freezer, Thermocool or all these other companies that have very good deep freezer. If you need to buy 10 deep freezer or 20 deep freezer, buy, or 5, just buy. All right? That's the first idea. Number two, don't freeze and store. You are freezing your meat for 1 month or 2 months because you will lose money on power. The money you did not lose on feed, you will lose it to NEPA and fuel bill. If you want to freeze, make sure you are freezing for market. So you need to plan. I think we even need to do a course on planning and marketing. Like you need to schedule your birds and schedule your freezing. You should not be freezing more than 3 days or 1 week. You know, so you know that, okay, there's order for 60 cartons from your customers on Wednesday to fulfill. By Sunday, Monday, all those things are already processed, packaged, everything. 2 days, 2 days, you freeze 24, 48 hours, sell. Don't freeze and don't freeze to preserve, freeze to sell. I think that's the idea. Don't freeze because you want to store, like a warehouse. Your refrigerator or your cold room is not a warehouse. It's just meant to temporarily hold the commodity because the customers you're selling to wants to buy frozen food. So for that reason, you got fridge and other things to freeze 24 hours before, 48 hours before you sell. That's the second thing I told him. The third thing I told him is that you should not buy batteries and inverter. There are companies now, one of them is Solinta and a few other ones, who they will come and evaluate your energy consumption. So they will say, okay, it's going to cost you 30,000 naira per month or 50,000 naira per month, and we will give you 247 electricity. We'll give you the battery, we'll give you the solar and everything, but you must pay this amount to us every month, and they will guarantee you light. I would rather you pay even 50,000 naira or 100,000 naira per month to that person than for you to buy the solar. Let me tell you why. Instead of spending 5 million on a solar,
Attitude are very deadly, Lord.
you know, instead of you spending 5 million on solar that you are not even sure after 6 months, if one battery or two batteries will die, what you should do instead is to pay them that 100,000. So calculate 100,000 times 12 months is how much? It's 1.2 million. 1.2 million times 4 years is 4.8 million. And if anything spoils in that, any solar battery or energy spoils, they will repair it for you. They will change it for you. So instead of you, because we always want to own, without thinking about this thing I'm spending 1 million, 5 million, 100,000, all these things on. It doesn't make business sense. It doesn't really make business sense, right? So, but if somebody guarantees your farm or your warehouse that they will give you light every day for 50,000 naira per month, my brother, you can even start selling freezing services. You go to farms in that community and tell them that you can freeze your chicken, all right? You can freeze your birds with us for 200 naira per carton per day or 500 naira per carton per day. You now start selling your freezing as a service. So it will not only be for your farm, you other farms around you, you'll be using them to service, like they will be, so you are making money from your beds, you are making money from freezing, you are selling your freezing service. At the end of the day, the money you are making from other people who are coming to freeze in your warehouse, right? Yeah, no, this is different from off-taking. What I'm saying is that if a farm in your community has 10,000 beds or 1,000 beds, you tell them that, see, for 500 naira per day, you will freeze their carton of chicken. Per day or per week, whatever you want to charge them, you charge them. But at the end of the day, the money you are making from those people will even help you cover your cost of operating. Do you understand? So I'm just saying that farming business is different from hotel business, right? And we need to use African wisdom, to handle this thing, like street smartness to handle this thing. Because in the same town here, you are selling your chicken for 2,000 naira. Somebody else is selling their own chicken for 5,000. That's just the truth. Okay, so I will want to do a summary I see people are okay. Yeah, I hope you guys love the conversation. Please just drop a comment to show that you liked what you like, feedback. So some of you have shown interest in learning how to grow insects. I'm one of the leading experts for it in Nigeria. And actually, I've also done training with USAID in Netherlands and Belgium with some of the biggest companies in the world. And one of my proteges actually has the biggest insect farm right now in America. Like, and I'm not bragging or trying to psych you up. That's the truth. They have one of the biggest farms right now in the whole of America. So what happened was that he came to our facility through USAID some time ago. We trained him and other people. So he was fortunate. He went to the US before COVID-19. No, that was like a year or so before COVID-19. And he was fortunate. He just got an investor that liked the idea. So the investor sank in millions into the idea. And right now, I'm very proud of him. They have one of the biggest facilities in America right now. So one of the things I will do, since a lot of you have shown interest in the topic, is that we'll send you a link. We'll fix a meeting for next week, um, where we'll teach you how to grow insects in your farm. So you don't need $1 million, you don't need 1 million naira. I'll teach you how to, even with something as simple as maybe 20,000, 50,000. I'll show you how to set it up, with the most little cost possible. All right, so we'll share, so expect an SMS from us on that issue. So what is the summary of today's lecture for those people who came a little bit late? The summary of today's lecture is as follows. Just hold on, number one, the cost of D.O.C price has increased year on year. In 2018, that was just barely 2 years or so ago. The cost of D.O.C was between 100 naira to 200 naira. Today, the price of D.O.C is actually higher, and the price of D.O.C is right now around, in some places, 480 naira to 550 naira for D.O.C. All right. So I think Paul is here. One of the things we're going to even do is that we're going to create a portal where you can see the price of D.O.C. So everybody just contribute to how much is D.O.C being sold in your area. Just put it there, and that way we can use it to track the what people what the price of D.O.C is nationally. Now, number two thing we said today was that production, you make the profit you make from production is like 20 to 30%, whereas the profit you make from marketing / processing is 70%. Therefore, it is profit in poultry farming is not about being a good farmer or a skilled farmer. It is about being a good marketer, a skilled seller. All right. So we said that the person who sells makes more money than the person who produces. So if you produce chickens and you have layer farm or broiler farm and you are very good, your mortality was like 5% or 10%, and you are a barber with production, we clap for you. That's good. But that does not translate necessarily into making profits. And therefore, we said that the key to making profits more is to have creative marketing techniques that you use. And a few of them were suggested. The first thing we talked about was the concept of understanding your cost price and your recost price. Your recost price, you have to factor in the cost of birds that died due to mortality. And we did a calculation on that to show how you can do your recost price. Number two is that you need to factor in how much profit you want to make. And for the case study we used, we said that the farmer produced their best for 2,500 cost price. Real cost price was 2,528 naira. Then profit margin was 25%. Therefore, the price of the best was 3,160 naira. All right, that's the selling price of the bed with 25% profit margin. The next thing we then said was that in order to sell at that price, you need to think differently as a farmer. You need to look beyond going to a market to find out, oh, how much is beds? Or you call your farmer friend, how much are they selling? They will say it's 250. Oh, then you now go and sell at 25. So if you do that, you will lose because you are not the one controlling the price. Therefore, to control your selling price, you need to do creative things. Number one is to offer subscription services where people can pay for either live birds or smoked birds or frozen birds from your farm 1 month ahead of time. And we also said that you can encourage small deposits. So you can tell them to be depositing 1,000 naira to 2,000 naira, whatever, before that time. So that way, the bed you're supposed to sell 3,200, you can even sell it 3,500 or 4,000 because you are giving people the opportunity to pay small, small. Or if you want, you can give discounts, but at the end of the day, you still make your profit. We then talked about the idea of community sales through a network. You must have a network of shops, a network of loyal vendors, women vendors especially. Those are the ones I've worked with, and therefore those are the ones I suggested. And because you are thinking as a businessman, you need to sell through your neighbors, you need to sell through your churches, you need to sell through association. Everybody must buy your beds. That is what we are saying. So if you are quarreling with your neighbor, you're vexing with your neighbor, don't vex with them again because you need to sell to them. They are going to be your customers. So you need to make sure that you have a community of people who you sell these things to. Then we then talked about the idea of processing, that there's different way of going about processing. You can process and freeze, in which case we said that if you are freezing, don't freeze to store, don't freeze to warehouse, freeze to sell. And you sell by planning ahead of time. Somebody has told you that on November 1st, I want 2 chickens. All right. So we're saying that make sure that you already plan all your sales ahead. And then at least 24 to 48 hours before they come and pick up their birds, you freeze your birds fresh and sell so that you don't have things stocked up in your fridge. Your fridge is not a warehouse. The next thing we then said that if you are planning to use solar and all those things, you don't need to buy the solar yourself. What you need is an arrangement, a contract arrangement where the solar company installs the batteries and the solar panels, and then you pay a monthly fee. The same way you do your NEPA bill, you pay a fee. Okay, so that was something else we said. The next thing we then talked about was the idea of smoking, and we said that there are different ways of going about smoking. Smoking, if you want to smoke and keep it for some time, then you need to smoke in such a way that the what do you call it, the meat is properly dehydrated, so it has low moisture content. The higher the moisture content, the easier the spoilage rates. All right. And then we said, I think they also said the idea of smoking and drying, okay, just to make sure that the meat is preserved for long. And you can also keep it in your fridge to preserve the freshness. But whether you are smoking or freezing, don't store it for long. Make sure it's something you are doing sharp, sharp, and make sure that the time of sale does not exceed 1 week. Okay. The next thing we talked about is the concept of value addition. Value addition through roasting. So the concept of roasting is that you just set up a simple stand. You know that you're harvesting 600 beds or 500 beds in 1 month time. I mean, if you are in a community where, close to your house or front of your door, just put a table there, roast off. People are attracted to good aroma, and people are attracted to places where meat is being sold, right? So whether it's a suya spot or it's a place where they're roasting bole and all those things, I mean, you can even hire somebody to handle that thing for you, and put it in front of your gate there. Anybody passing or wherever or in a junction, and you just do it for that period where you're harvesting. And if the market move, you cannot buy that bull chicken and retain your staff, and you are selling. So these are creative ways of selling. Then the last thing we talked about was how to use your WhatsApp status to generate demand. WhatsApp status specifically because people always follow your story. So at least every day or every 2 days, make sure you are talking about your chicken, putting the picture so that people follow your story of the farm, and so that they have some form of emotional connection to your farm and to your birds. And then ask them to start ordering 1 or 2 months, and they can pay in deposits. And what we said was that you can have a simple notebook where you can record how much everybody has paid, so that you don't need to wait until it's harvest time before you sell. And I said that if you are able to do this faithfully after some months, what you would observe is that 100% of your sales it is possible that 100% of your sales is coming from subscriptions. At which point, if somebody walks into your farm and say, "Okay, I want to buy all your beds, 100 of your beds," you tell them, "Sorry, all your beds are already sold. People have already paid for them." And that is where you want to be as a farmer, because that way you control price, because people have already paid ahead of time. All right. So these are the key things we talked about, and we also had questions from Bayo, from Joe, and also from Ibrahim that have been addressed. All right. So this is a summary of the lecture from today,
Where's
and
that?
I want, yeah, and I want to assure you that by next week, because of the interest you guys have shown on this whole thing, by next week we are going to create we're going to have a class where we specifically will talk about how to grow insect protein using black soldier fly. All right, so guys, we want to be very respectful of your time. All right. If you have any questions, please email them to us. I want to keep the classes short. So thank you very much for everybody who attended. So I'm just going to call your names: Bayo, Ade Hassan, Ahmad, Amadi, Anago, Chigoze, Emmanuel, Charles, Phoebe, Chinonso, Dahiru, Desmond, Dorcas, Dr. Teams, Eniola, Femi, Francisca, Gideon, Ibrahim, Dauda, Ibrahim Musa, Idowu, Falasade, James, Josam, John Odiba, Joshua, Abiola, Kolade, Moses, Kasi, Nkiruka, Ofinome, OGND, Oladapo, Olasukami, Paul, Sahid, Raji Said Yusuf, Salahuddin, Simon Kolinta, Shegun, Olojo, Bitrus, Linus, and Oluwatobi. So it was exciting having each and every one of you. Watch out for our class next week. And please do not forget to get yourself the Farm God app. By this week, we're going to be releasing, by next week, I mean, we're going to be releasing Animal Rater. And we're going to make it possible for you, if you need to chat with the vet doctor about any issue at all. I want to show you guys something you're going to be excited about. It's a new innovation we are bringing to you. So let me share my screen. This should take like so this is instant video consultation with the best vet doctors. So we're launching this with the support of the MVMA and all that. So if you have an issue, you can come here, and for 1,000 naira or 500 naira or whatever, you can always talk to a vet doctor. So it's almost like Zoom call with a vet doctor of your choice. And then this platform handles different animals, okay? So we would probably talk about this more next week.
Is it on iOS?
You said what?
Is it on iOS software?
No. It's not iOS. It's fully web. So you don't need to download anything for this. So you just come, select the animal. So we're launching this by next month. So, but we'll keep you guys in touch. It's going to be very useful for vet doctors. As a vet doctor, you can simply come here and register as a vet. Yeah. If you own a farm, you can register here. Farmers can start registration from next week. Vet doctors can register now. Okay. So guys, it's exciting speaking with every one of you. Make sure you have a great day. Right? Bye bye.